I was halfway to the door when Dad's voice caught me like a hook in the spine. "Don't come home. You're an embarrassment." No explanation. No room for reply. Just the sentence, thrown like a stone. I stood there for a second, tasting the iron tang of humiliation in my mouth, before I left. I didn't argue. I never argued with him. Not anymore. Mom's birthday was 3 days away. I told myself I wouldn't go, but that was before I learned the truth. 2 months earlier, I met Daniel in a boardroom. He was nervous, polite, almost painfully so. A handshake that barely held mine. My sister introduced him to the family weeks later, calling him the man I'm going to marry. At the time, I didn't connect him to my world outside the family. Why would I? My life was compartmentalized. The office was the office. Home was home. But then I started noticing him avoiding my eyes whenever we crossed paths at company events. A little too quick to look at the floor. A little too eager to leave a conversation. And my sister, she'd begun speaking about me less like a brother and more like an obstacle. The first crack. It was after midnight when the email hit my desk. An anonymous tip. Check the Q3 contracts. Look at the sign-offs. I did. Daniel's name wasn't on any of them, but his fingerprints were all over the mess. Inflated invoices, quiet kickbacks to shell vendors, one step shy of embezzlement. The kicker? My father's signature authorizing each payout. The pattern. I started watching, quietly. Daniel was feeding my father information, twisting numbers, blaming department losses on reckless leadership decisions I had supposedly made. In Dad's mind, I was running the company into the ground. In reality, Daniel was bleeding it dry. And my sister? She was in on it. The emails between them weren't just business, they were intimate, mocking. My name was in every third sentence. The shift. I didn't rage, I didn't drink, I didn't confront them. I smiled in meetings, I sent polite family texts, and I started moving the chess pieces. First, I pulled every document they'd touched, copied, time-stamped, and archived off-site. Second, I brought in my legal team, not as lawyers, but as auditors. Third, I waited for Mom's birthday. The plan. It wasn't about exposing them in front of strangers. It was about revealing the truth in front of the one person they couldn't spin a lie to. Mom. The venue was perfect, my parents' house. Dinner with all the extended family. A big enough audience for the fall to echo. The night before, I resigned from my executive position, effective immediately. I sent the board my evidence package along with a detailed breakdown of Daniel and my sister's scheme. The board didn't reply with questions. They replied with warrants. Mom's birthday, the party. When I walked in, the room stilled. Dad looked at me like I was dirt under his shoe. My sister smirked. Daniel kept his eyes on his wine glass. I kissed Mom on the cheek, handed her a gift, and took a seat at the far end of the table. No one spoke to me. That was fine. Halfway through dessert, the doorbell rang. 2 plainclothes officers stepped inside. They asked for Daniel by name. His hand froze on his fork. He glanced at my sister, then at Dad. "Hi, boss," he muttered, eyes locked on me. The room froze. Mom looked between us. "Boss?" Dad's voice cracked. Daniel laughed once, bitterly. "You really didn't know? I've been working under him for 3 years. Every paycheck I ever got came from his signature, and now he's—" He stopped himself. The officers took him by the arms. The unraveling. My sister's face drained of color. "What's going on?" I set my glass down. "Fraud. Theft. Conspiracy. You'll see the details soon enough." Dad's knuckles whitened. "You? Me?" I leaned back. "No, Dad. You signed the payments. Without checking. Because you trusted your future son-in-law. And you trusted her." I nodded toward my sister. Mom's eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. Is it true? Neither of them answered. The fall. The officers led Daniel out. The door closed behind them. My sister tried to follow, but I blocked her path. You might want to stay, I said quietly. The board's lawyers will be in touch. They have your emails. Her mouth opened, closed. The fight was gone before it started. Dad couldn't look at me. Mom could. And in her eyes, I saw it. The first crack in the wall they'd built against me. Aftermath. By the next morning, the news was everywhere. Daniel's arrest, my sister's pending charges, my father's forced resignation from the company he'd once ruled like a kingdom. The board reinstated me, temporarily, just long enough to stabilize the chaos. Then I stepped down on my own terms. I had no interest in rebuilding a house that had tried to burn me alive.